everybody, it's Aaron here, and sitting with Nick DiDomenico, the founder of Elk Run Farm and co-founder of Drylands Agroecology Research. We just recorded a wonderful podcast episode. We're sitting here in the forest garden at Elk Run Farm and doing a little behind the scenes for you. So Nick, it was so fun chatting with you and recording that podcast together.
For sure, bro.
So yeah, here we are behind the scenes, and you and I were just chatting about what it's been like in your leadership position these last few years. When you got to this land and you realize, wow, there's so much restoration and healing work that can occur here on this land, and you sort of kicked off a huge adventure, right? And have since then collaborated with all kinds of folks and had a lot of experiences, ups and downs, and maybe you could share with us just a little more kind of under the hood or behind the scenes, your perspective as a leader, carrying the torch on this important project.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so much to talk about with that, and we could spend hours just talking about the challenges, because they're so rich and beautiful in their own way. It's been fascinating. I mean, Marissa and I have really built our lives in such a way that we are the epicenter and the center point, actually physically on this property, right? Where like all of the movements and happenings, the growing of the food, the different programs like the kids' school, it's all happening surrounding our house, and you probably experienced a little bit of this in the writer's cottage too, but in a way, one of the main challenges for me is just like getting a break from it, like not having a lot of places on the property to really create sanctuary for myself. And I just encourage others kind of embarking on the same directions to restore land and to build communities, to really think long and hard about the positioning of different homes and structures on land to really make sure that people have alone time and space and tranquility, because it's like a lot of our mentors have told us, the social designs of systems often fail and break down before the land systems. Like, not that it's easy per se to build and design land systems, but just that the social systems in and of themselves often become more challenging more quickly. And so, just at times facing burnout, at times just facing the need to really restore. And so for me, it's just been a matter of creating radical practices of self-care and just really prioritizing myself. We've just a lot of the time prioritized the development of the land, the development of the community, and in a way neglected ourselves. And in a way, like most of our strain and challenges actually come from that, from just outputting so much that we just feel so drained and tired and worn down that we're not as inspired, and there's so much to be inspired by here, as you can see, that it's just so important. We're realizing more and more to take care of ourselves. And of course, the Waylay bath salts have been amazingly helpful, actually, just getting to relax at night using those. And a lot of challenges, but a lot of beautiful lessons, I'd say.
It's a theme I see over and over. It's perennial for whether it's folks creating land-based community, entrepreneurs, or even more seasoned executives and organizational leaders. Right? We get so devoted to the work we're doing, and suddenly we have such a full plate of responsibilities and relationships. And it can get really taxing and overwhelming at times. And I think that cultivation of sanctuary, and I love your term, radical self-care. I mean, it seems to me, especially with this emerging and evolving regenerative movement all around the world, that this is at the core of what we need and what we get to experience and what we get to cultivate for ourselves as we're engaged in this really important work in our organizations and in our collaborations with other leaders and organizations. So it's real, and that need for sanctuary, for me at least, only becomes more and more potent, really, as time goes on and as things get fuller and more mature and more dynamic, right?
I see that for sure.
And
just taking your advice at different times, for like, you tell me, Nick, you're holding this vision, you need to take good care of yourself, you need to go up in the woods and restore so that you can come back inspired and be able to make thoughtful, holistic decisions about the movements here. So I've really taken that to heart and been diving into that experience too, which has been nice.
That's beautiful. Yeah, man. I actually just a few weeks ago had a little meditation pop up where I was designing my job description.
Oh yeah.
As an author, organizational leader, consultant, whatever, all these things I'm doing. And it's funny because one of the core pillars in that job description was time in nature.
Wow, sure enough.
And,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, for me, it's not this sort of sideline, maybe if there's time. It's not this like, once a month out there somewhere, but it's like becoming more and more like I really have to every week have a deep immersive nature day or time. And it's a joy, right? Because it's this odd, it's like the math seems tricky somehow, but every time I'm more productive and effective and clear and lucid and capable in the work. And it's so easy to feel like, holy smokes, I've got so much on my plate. How can I go sit in the woods for a day?
Yeah,
But
right.
ironically, maybe it's not ironic, the workflow and productivity seems to do better in the aggregate that way. So it's a very interesting time. And as you know, some of our friends like David Orr, who writes about ecological literacy, and others who are writing about nature deficit disorder and researching all of that. I mean, this hyper intelligence of nature is real. Definitely. And I know that it probably is one of the absolute fundamental keys in healing our modern industrial culture, this deepening of intimate relationship with nature. And I know we're advocating that for just about everybody to do. So I'm curious, like when you get into the mountains, what do you do? Like, what's that like?
I mean, I love foraging, you know, like there's so many medicines and mushrooms and things that just aren't in our, you know, more foothills environment. So love foraging, love going up for OSHA or arnica or different medicines, sages, all kinds of things that just grow up there. And also just to restore and move my body and just feel that tranquility, find that serenity. And movement for me has been really big, you know, like coming from athletics and just really needing movement to maintain mental health and emotional health. So just feeling it, you know, and getting to tune into the messages and the kind of the frequency of nature. So that's been really good for me.
Love that, Nick. Well, look, man, it's been such a joy chatting with you and having both our podcast interview and our behind the scenes chat. And before we sign off, if I just want to make sure if you have anything else you'd like to say to our ambassador network, please do.
Gosh, I just say you're welcome here. Please come and visit if you're in the Boulder area. We're just a little bit north of Boulder, maybe 10 miles, and would love to meet like-minded folks and just explore other collaborations and partnerships as we grow and expand. And it's been so awesome to get to live close to you and to share time and space. And just excited for everything that's to come in our collaborations and partnerships too. And just as Y on Earth grows and the message really spreads, you know, like we are waking up, humanity is waking up, and it's so beautiful. So we're just excited to be on the forefront of that and seeing that change happen before our eyes. So
absolutely. Yeah. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it, brother.
Likewise.
See you, everybody.
The Y on Earth Community Stewardship and Sustainability podcast series is hosted by Aaron William Perry, author, thought leader, and executive consultant. The podcast and video recordings are made possible by the generous support of people like you. To sign up as a daily, weekly, or monthly supporter, please visit yonearth.org/support. Support packages start at just $1 per month. The podcast series is also sponsored by several corporate and organization sponsors. You can get discounts on their products and services using the code YONEARTH, all one word with a Y. These sponsors are listed on the yonearth.org/support page. If you found this particular podcast episode especially insightful, informative, or inspiring, please pass it on and share it with a friend whom you think will also enjoy it. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your support. And thank you for being a part of the Y on Earth community.